Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Sunday, October 17th, 2021. In both the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many search for truth rules, already given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us, those rules of course including investigating inconvenient things like why is a helicopter flying over us way out here in the country?
That's a good question.
That's ridiculous. There's no reason for that we can come up with. It's legitimate.
Yep.
We have this filming assignment, and as part of the filming assignment, we're always supposed to attempt to discern whatever it is that the speaking voices upstairs, the angels and godly presences, would like to have be the subject of the inquiry, because we're supposed to be opening up portals interdimensionally through the astral, which are quite lawless, as high up as we can get, to find the highest vibration presences that we're able to connect with right now, and to kind of let them say whatever they want to say. And an inquiry can trigger the process, and we're supposed to look at the clues for the inquiry. And there was a dreamer there last night who seems to be some higher soul of something, somehow affiliated with maybe the U.S.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's presences trying to come in the side door, and the door is locked, and the presences are wiggling the door, wiggling the doorknob, trying to get in. And the dreamer goes to a different door, goes to the front door, and slides the deadbolt locked.
That's
while
right.
This big weight suddenly starts pressing on the front door.
That's right.
So we're trying to figure out what this is, try to interpret the dream, which seems to be what they're wanting to talk about right now.
That's right.
And the dream, our best guess is that big weight is the weight of karma, the heavy karmic burden that comes with being part of U.S. society.
That's right.
Leading the parade of destruction with frivolous carbon emissions and frivolous expenditures that are, by the way, destroying our economy no matter what they tell you.
That's right.
We need to have a higher savings rate, and we need to have basically no debt. And as a country, we're quite heavily burdened with debt, both individually and collectively.
That's true.
And that's this inner CPA is very disturbed by that. We know that that's a sign of financial ill health. So the weight of karma is quite heavy. We think that's the big thing that's pushing on the front door, and then trying to figure out what's trying to come in the side door.
Yeah.
My best guess is it's immigrants that we're supposed to be letting in, like the Paul McCartney song, someone's knocking at the door, someone's ringing the bell.
And they've been talking about that upstairs a lot.
They have. There were some other guesses. We thought, well, maybe it could be death.
Could be death itself.
The bony fingers of death.
Right.
But I don't think that that's who it is. I feel more the fingers of like immigrant children and women. And we need to really acknowledge that human society globally is well on the way to breaking down entirely into where it's just gang warfare. And the problem wouldn't be such a big deal if the spirit world hadn't armed humanity. Like, it would just be scrabbling humans, just like chimpanzees. They fight.
That's
also.
right.
Humans would be fighting, chimps would be fighting. It would be no big
That's
deal
right.
if it weren't for the weaponry that was sent in by the spirit world. Now they're talking about that Parkland mass murder, the guy who shot up a school in Parkland.
Right.
And he's on the news because he's pleading guilty to, like, he attacked a prison guard, and he also shot shot and killed 17, mostly kids, and shot another 17 who recovered.
That's right.
And his face, he looks so not only unrepentant, his expression is that he doesn't think there's going to be any consequence whatsoever to having done those things that presumably we as a collective would agree those are bad things.
Yes.
You shouldn't shoot children.
No.
And we think that there's really no more place for guns.
That's right.
That humanity as a whole has proven we're not responsible enough to handle guns very well.
No, that's true.
And that it's time to put the guns down. A father of one of the girls who died in that shooting is the president of Stand With Parkland. They represent the families of the kids who were killed. And he made this statement: as a society, we need to disincentivize to the maximum extent possible anyone from attacking our schools, whatever form that takes. And I think this is really fascinating because often denser dimensions are referred to as the school of life.
That's right. That's what they're talking about.
And now we have the spirit world who was invited to this planet because this planet suffers from bullying and aggression problems and selfishness.
That's true.
And ingratitude and dodging responsibility. But bullying was I think that was what caused the spirit world to be invited in, is that Darwin said survival of the fittest, but Pan said let the biggest bully prevail is how it's playing out, and that he tried everything he could think of to stop it, and nobody listened to him. And so with the feeling of I might well live to regret this, he signed a deal inviting the spirit world in. And they came in and armed humanity with the purportedly with the thought that then humanity would create bullying-free zones.
I hear you.
But in hindsight, it doesn't seem that was really. I mean, maybe it was never a thought of theirs. Maybe they were just coming in and being nasty from the start.
I hear you.
Because there's no karmic feedback in a time-effective way. And so it doesn't look like they really were intending to create an effective training program. And that's really sad. Very sad. And this goes back through, I think, all the spiritual traditions that we're able to research, including, all the way back to shamanism, 40,000 years of shamanism.
That's right.
And including all the pantheistic religions,
That's
which
right.
certainly seem to have been clear glimpses into the astrals, into what was going on, into the higher powers. And through that to the Abrahamic religions, which seem to be focusing on just a couple of the key players of the pantheon, and
That's
declaring
right.
that everybody else was bad or false gods.
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever, pal. But, and that's absolutely no disrespect to Yeshua, the Christ presence, who was an amazing teacher, and he was killed before his time.
That's right.
And his followers were supposed to rise up and protect him, and it didn't come together in time to protect him. It happened pretty fast. He was arrested Thursday night, and he was dead before sunset on Friday.
That's
so
right.
that was quick. And what a loss.
That's right.
And if he had the opportunity to teach for 30 more years, maybe we would be having a different conversation right now.
I hear you.
They say.
Yeah.
However, other presences upstairs are saying that wouldn't have really made an actual foundational difference because it's a bad batch.
That's
there's
right.
some contaminant in the stardust when it coagulated in this region and became this planet. There's contamination in it, and it's a bad batch.
That's true.
And then it kind of radiates bad attitudes and selfishness, really,
Yeah.
and ingratitude.
And ingratitude and,
And
dodging
dodging responsibility.
That's what they're talking about upstairs.
What now? How may we be of service to inspire a divine miracle, to reopen the portals to higher vibrations above all of us? Because what about these clouds of the dead? Like, we know that there are too many humans on Earth, and we understand that, and we get it. But what's going to happen when we die? You know, the astrals, as a collective, not just us, humanity, because the astrals are so clogged. There's so many dead people, like they press against you. It's hard to get through the crowds of dead people. And how is this going to help?
What someone upstairs is talking about is there was some quote that was spoken by the president of Stand With Parkland, or whatever that organization's name, and he said something about what needed to be done to stop similar bad things from happening.
Well, he said, as a society, we need to disincentivize to the maximum extent possible anyone from attacking our schools, whatever form that takes. And because otherwise these school attacks are going to continue to proliferate, as they certainly have this last maybe 10 years, and in the U.S.
Thank you.
Which is quite troubling. And it's also quite troubling that even with all these school attacks, the NRA continues to insist that people have the right to buy not only guns but semi-automatic weaponry. And the military is selling their fully automatic equipment to police, and it is filtering on out into the general populace, which is not ideal. So the point is, the spirit world having armed humanity, how do we prevent that? We don't prevent it, but how can we inspire a divine miracle so that this disaster doesn't happen elsewhere?
That's
like
the question.
This planet is toast, and the spirit world has armed humanity, and humanity is destroying life on Earth, and that's really, really, really sad, but there seems to be absolutely no intention to expend effort to stop it, and humanity's just going to be allowed to just thrash itself to death in the ugliest possible way, taking all life on Earth over the cliff with it.
That's right.
And now, how do we disincentivize this so that this doesn't play out on other planets?
That's the question.
Like, what about the people upstairs who did this, who armed humanity?
Oh.
Like, what about that? You know, guns and all that?
Oh.
Who did that? And not just guns, but like explosives and the internal combustion machine and anything for extraction. You know, there's a destruction in huge areas of the planet through mining. Not to mention drilling.
That's true.
And fracking. It's just this enormous destructive wave. What about the presences who sent in those bad ideas? In hindsight, we can see they were bad ideas.
That's true.
And they kept sending them in. Like, what in the world is the excuse for sending in nuclear weaponry? There's just no way that it wasn't already pretty sure that humanity was misusing weaponry.
No, that feels calm. That feels widely known.
And they sent in nuclear weapons. Just a little less than 100 years ago.
That's right.
Really. What about that? And how to prevent that from happening in other planets.
That's what they keep coming back to.
Like, we accept that this one is toast,
Yep.
and that this society is toast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's so sad, and that when it happens, it's going to be like Beirut, where
So they're talking about.
Beirut has now deteriorated once again into gang warfare, and Beirut went through a terrible period in the 70s when the U.S. parked some ships offshore and just bombed the heck out of them. Just obliterated it. And then rebuilt lives and societies and economics, and then made a series of mistakes. And then there was this explosion in a port that was fertilizer exploding.
That's right.
And, and fertilizer is stored in many ports around the world, so it happened in Beirut. It seems to have just been like an accident.
Yeah, that's the feeling.
And then from there, Beirut has become one of the countries, and it's not a country, it's a city. Lebanon is a country, but Beirut's the major city. It's collapsed into gang warfare like is happening in Port-au-Prince in Haiti.
That's right.
And Afghanistan's fundamentally a country in gang warfare now.
That's right.
And many more, not to single those out. Ethiopia, really bad.
Really bad.
Venezuela, terrible.
Really bad.
El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Venezuela, many, many countries that have just fallen into gang warfare, and that is the trend. And with all of them, it was just a little signal, and then boom, and it's gang warfare. And don't think the U.S. is going to be any different. That's what they say. So how to disincentivize the spirit world from creating these kinds of disasters on other planets.